All righty, Grand Rising, everyone. This is Ron. It is Sunday, September the 14th, about 11:04 a.m. We'll go ahead and get started and see if we have any questions. Anyone? Um, yesterday was an awesome day, I thought, anyway. We talked about several things, and of course, we talked about energy and repurposing or repurposing or reclaiming energy. We talked about being I am, being what it means to be I am, uh, and talked about, of course, the shooting, Charlie Kirk thing how that's playing itself out. Uh, and we talked about the importance of the words you put behind I am, what comes after that, and being careful what you say and how you address people. And I don't think we even said how you think, but that includes how you think about things or what you think about people. So all of that is something we discussed just then, and what that you understanding that you are energy and a couple other things. I didn't mention one of the things that hit me. I thought was when JC George said, when he says, "Wake up," and says, "I am Elohim," or "Good morning, Elohim." Excuse me. That kind of touched me. So I thought yesterday was an awesome day, and maybe we'll pick up on that today and see. But first, do we have any questions about anything I mentioned or anything that may have touched you?
Yes, Ron. This is Angela Grand Rising, everyone. I just wanted to share. Yesterday, I got up probably about 8 something and went outside because I felt I needed to go outside. I said, I'm gonna get up and go on outside. I went outside and I meditated. I did focus on, I am, I am smart, I am intelligent, I am Elohim, and I felt the sense of peace. It was a beautiful experience, and I also did it this morning. I went out there about 9, and I was greeted by a neighbor cat. He purred at me one time, and I was sitting out there meditating. I turned around, and the cat was sitting behind me, laying down on the porch where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did my meditation. I am Elohim, and just positive affirmations, to myself. But it was just beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. It is something very beautiful about the stillness of the morning. Uh, Almost feels like it's just you and the creation by yourself, you know. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, Grand Rising, everyone. This is GC and Iran. I appreciate, again, just, ushering us into being able to appreciate being still. And I was thinking about the scripture in Psalms, Psalms 34, and I'm sorry, Psalms 46, verse 10. And I know we spoke on it briefly, and I just wanted to see if we can maybe revisit that because I think Kathy shared also in terms of this particular scripture. And it talks about, be still and know that I am. And I think since we're speaking on the concept of I am, as I say, those are two of the most powerful words, that I like to affirm. And as you say, what you state thereafter is
Mm-hmm.
what you create. And us being the creators that we are, and us being Elohim, I think the more that we begin to appreciate what we're able to not only create, but see things manifest because of our desire. And I think that when we first arise, in the morning, to be able to give thanks, to the creator, to be able to acknowledge, as I was saying, yesterday, in terms of, when I say Grand Rising Elohim. I think yesterday, Ron, I might have said again, good morning. And as I begin to think more about what I'm saying, and I think this is what Pastor was alluding to, is being able to appreciate the words that we speak, in existence, the words that we put out there in the macro. And I believe that the more that we are attentive to God's creations, Elohim's creations, the more that we bring in that energy, the more that we bring in that frequency, the vibrations, that we're in tune
Yeah.
with being able to start our day giving thanks. So I think that again, when we look at this scripture and it says to be still, it talks about to be silent before the creator, to be in meditation. And there's various aspects of meditation, that we all may experience. But I think what's important is to have that moment, just to vast in the creator's presence and to know that, what is it that I desire to create today, or what is it that I desire to receive? So I
Hmm.
just wanted to mention that as a thought. And then the scripture goes on to say, and to know. I think we had talked about that a little bit before when we speak about yada, or to know, to be certain. So again, I just wanted to share those thoughts this morning, in terms of that particular scripture, Psalms 46:10. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. You're right on point. I don't know what I did to my screen here, but I'll get it back. Okay. Thank you, GC. You're right on point. You mentioned the morning. I listened to what Angela said as well. Uh, I had gotten into the practice of getting up on the weekends, especially, and going out and greeting the morning, but I kind of got away from it. I'm glad you guys are mentioning that to say that to me again. So something I miss, something I miss doing. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you.
Hey, Ron, this is Charles.
Hey, Charles.
I hated it because I wasn't with y'all Saturday, but I had things I had to do. But
Understood.
anyway,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like we as people of the way and people of the God, I feel like sometimes we use, like they say God, too frivolously, because they don't really understand how much majesty that he really is, and it just roll off the lips so freely, and I don't think they really understand how much he is really reverenced of being a father. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
Because sometimes, I mean, it feel like to me, it seems like people just see it in a cliche like way.
Charles,
Yes,
Charles,
sir.
you're right. You're absolutely right. And the rightness of it is that when we were in the church and we were following the Christian edicts, we did see God as a he. And we were very frivolous, a lot of people anyway, in how they let that word God roll off of their tongue. And it became a cliche, as you say it, as opposed to being an entity to be reverenced. However, now that we are understand that the things that we were taught in Christianity, the things we were taught in the church were wrong. And we have given an account for that by virtue of understanding that the Creator is not a he. It is feminine in that it is the creative mother as opposed to the creative father. Also, since then, Charles, we've begun to see that we are God, that we are Elohim. So now, so when you begin to realize that you're Elohim, your whole approach to it changes. Your attitude about it begins to change because I don't know whether everyone has noticed it, but I have noticed in me when I embrace the reality of being Elohim, my whole approach and my whole feelings about it changed. And I do believe that it changed because my thoughts that the one who created everything that is, Ein Sof, the light of all lights, chose to allow a portion of its reality and personality to become who I am. He allowed it to become Elohim in physical form or God in physical form. So now it is not so frivolous when we talk about it. I see that it's not frivolous because God is not set aside from us as we were taught. We are it and it is us. And it is not a man in charge of anything. It is femininity in charge of everything. And when we look at it from that perspective, our whole countenance about it, our whole idea about it changes. It becomes more real to us.
Yeah.
And I think that is the reason that George could feel so comfortable saying Grand Rising Elohim, because as I see it, when I heard it was that it was the physical entity addressing the spiritual entity, which means that they being one, there is an understanding that there is a mindset that guides us through this world, that has guided us in this world, rather. However, the mindset of Elohim is different than what we've been taught, is different than how we have lived. So to say Grand Rising Elohim is to recognize who you are in a real meaningful way. And it is much deeper than an affirmation. I hope I'm able to help you, Charles, in explaining this. Can you see what I'm saying, man?
Yeah, I see it because I didn't understand it until you brought it out that way. It was the way we was taught, the
Yes.
way we was pushed into a different religion than what we had when we came from our ancestors' home.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. I have I wasn't on when you first started, so what did you begin with? Sorry.
I just kind of summed up a couple things we talked about yesterday. We talked about energy. We talked about Charlie Kirk, and I mentioned what George said, and those kind of things that stuck with me, and talked about I am, how important that is to recognize your speech and your thinking, and because we talked about how important that was going to be this week, that we kind of look to
I
bring that up again at some point. Yeah.
well, early this morning I was meditating, And during the meditation, I was uncomfortable with myself because it seems like I couldn't settle down enough for things to flow. And the ancestors spoke to me and said, you don't have to feel anything to experience everything. And that kind of settled me. But I still did not have the experiences that I expected because of the previous experiences I've had during meditation. But I was taught a valuable lesson. And that valuable lesson is it's not always going to be the same. Just be still and know that you're God and everything else will flow. Well, later on this morning, after I had finished meditating and gotten things ready for breakfast, Ron called me. And it was, it's not ironic because all of us are on the same wavelength or vibrate the same. And it was the scripture I would like for Ron to talk about for a minute that he shared with me. And the reason I'm saying this is because I had not spoken with him when I received from the ancestors, but the scripture that he talked about, that he brought to my attention rather, seemed as though it would have been in terms that we can understand, seemed that it would have been a text for the message that I got from the ancestors. And if there are no further questions or statements, I would like for Ron to bring that scripture to our attention because I see some things in it that directly relate to what I was shown this morning.
Okay.
Well,
The scripture,
before you start, could I say something?
of course.
Thank you for saying what you said about you having that struggle this morning with your meditation, because strange enough, this morning I had a tough time with it. But there's been some other mornings I had, and then there are stretches like the latter part of this week where it just I'm feeling it. So I really appreciate that because I was beginning to wonder in myself if I'm doing something incorrectly. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing that up. Before Ron starts, please understand this. There is no right way or wrong way. And when it comes to what I spoke about, kind of struggling this morning, all of us do that. Every one of us. See, I don't want you guys to think that you're doing something wrong simply because it doesn't happen the way it did previously, and that we, the teachers, get it right all the time, because we don't. We don't get it right all the time. We do struggle sometimes with meditation. We too have struggled with embracing the reality that we are Elohim. But it's like the butterfly. The caterpillar never becomes a butterfly without struggle. If the butterfly does not struggle in the cocoon, it never flies. It simply dies in the cocoon. So the struggle has made us butterflies when we are able to easily embrace the reality that we are Elohim and embrace the truth of the matter is that we struggle through things because of the indoctrination that we have received over the years. So thank you for bringing that up for me. Ron?
Sure. The scripture comes from Genesis 32. And the verse is verse 28. But to put it into more in perspective, I'm going to start at verse 24, if you don't mind. And so you kind of get the gist of what's being said here. And I think this is something we're all familiar with. And I'm at Genesis 32. I'm starting at verse 24. It said, then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When he saw that he had not prevailed against him, he touched the socket of his thigh, so that the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated while he wrestled with him. This New American Standard, by the way. Then he said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But he said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." So he said unto him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed." That's the verse that I saw us in. He said, uh, your name should no longer be Jacob, but should be Israel. You have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. I think that describes a journey of what we have gone through. We have wrestled with this thing. We have wrestled with our humanity. We have wrestled with putting away religion. And we have understood who we are and put this thing, uh, bringing it now to a place where we're comfortable with saying and being Elohim. So when GC said that yesterday, that really touched me. And I just saw that verse and I couldn't wait to show it to Pastor because I thought that described us to a T. And I'm sure there's a lot more in it that he see that I don't. But that's the verse in question that I was thinking about, Genesis 32 and 28.
I wonder if the verse is also saying that you've come to grips with knowing who you are.
Yes,
That's
yes,
that's the big part of the wrestle.
yes,
You have finally, through all the baggage and through all of the misinformation and through all the lies, religion, whatever, you have struggled internally. You've come to the point where you finally know you. Is how that speaks to me as well.
yes. Thank you. Yes, you're absolutely right.
In that verse, I also, in addition to what Barbara said, because I agree with that wholeheartedly, your reputation as a mere man, which who's singing? Thank you. In conjunction with what Barbara said, what I saw in that as well, your reputation will not be that of a mere man anymore. Now that you know who you are, your reputation, your character will always be that of who you really are, Elohim. and I think that the part about the thigh being dislocated is more of speaking to a reminder throughout his life of the struggle that he had with embracing who he is. Does that make sense, Bob?
Yeah, it's like we all have those tags in our lives that remind us what we've come through, and it's just that you remember. Okay, keep the focus.
Yes, and from that, the church gave us this holy nation of Israel, which is so wrong. I'm not going to get into the history of it. However, I did find out that from the 1800s, or the late 1800s, mid to late 1800s rather, Europeans have always tried to populate that land with other Europeans, and they made Jews something. The word Jew something respectful, and in doing so, they said that they belonged to that portion of land. And when I say respected, the word Jew is no different than the word that's used to describe gypsies, that someone who It's a thief. But they made it look better or mean something different because they wanted Europeans in that area. The depth of that I'm not going to get into. However, I do want us to understand that with that came even with that came a stronger denial of who we really are on the part of the European. And it was, as Shaw said earlier, forced upon us in a very, very deadly way. The ancestors have brought us a message from the Cosmic Mother. And that message that has been brought to us by the ancestors have kept us on this journey. I don't really know how many years it has been, but has kept us on this journey. And I can't say that it started when we came together. This journey started long before we came together as teachers, as a group. This journey started, maybe the journey for Audrey started when she started questioning stuff and getting no answers. Maybe the journey for Ron started when he started raising questions and was asked to leave Sunday school classes. Who knows when the journey starts for each of us, but they converged. And when they converged, this is where they brought us to where we are currently. And are there any questions about the discussion so far on this particular scripture? Because I want to carry us further with this scripture because of what I was shown this morning.
I have a question.
Sure.
We talked about Jacob and how he had this this injury in the hip, and just correct me if I'm wrong. Some scars you can hide, clothes,
Yeah.
makeup, but the hip, the way you walk, will ask questions. So you know how you see kids that may see somebody with a deformity or they're blind or a big scar, they're always asking. You know, they ask anything like, "How did you get that scar?" Could it be a reminder not just for him but for others who can visibly see his limp?
Oh, well, the limp is metaphorical. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. Many times we've heard Kathy talk about how older people come up to her and they start telling her the story of their lives. What is it that they see? They see a metaphorical limp. They see a light that they don't understand. They see something that they can't see with their eyes. And when I say they see something, they are experiencing a presence and they feel comfortable with that presence and they open up to that presence. So that comfortability with that presence is tantamount to seeing a physical limp as opposed to being able to see the light with your natural eyes. Does that make sense, Myra?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I guess I saw the I saw it as saying your journey would be different from now on. Your gait would be different, or the journey that you would take would be different from now on, or your life would be different, is another way of saying it.
And I agree with that, Ron, wholeheartedly. And continue with the example. If Catherine's life had not changed for the better, or had not changed spiritually, then they would not be coming up to her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the light change. When we talk about your life changing in this regard, we talk about the light of your being changes, and it becomes a magnet for those who are hungry, those who are seeking balance, those who are seeking comfort. So, and when you think about that, we are life energy itself, then, then when we recognize that we are life energy itself, there is something about us that is being released that wasn't beforehand. There are people who you around have been around, and then one day you say something like, "There's something different about you." Can't put my finger on it, but there's something different. That's that life energy being released. And if you don't recognize it yourself, sometimes other people will recognize it. And if you don't embrace it at that point, there are times when you will have interludes with that, and you will have opportunity to embrace the life energy that you are. And if you continue to run from it or deny its presence, or if you, like one person I knew, this preacher was delivering a message, congregation, pews full of people. And the people were in awe because all they saw was the light. They didn't see him anymore. They just saw a light. And it even appeared on their phones when they took a picture of it. And that person called me and we talked about it. And he set up a meeting with me, but we never met. And he just let it go because he wanted to remain in that mode of the popular preacher as opposed to embracing the spiritual reality that was being revealed. And since that period of denial, to my knowledge, he's never experienced it again. And he's no longer that popular preacher that he was. Can you see the difference here? Does that make sense, Ron?
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Understand.
Any other questions about that or comments? I want to ask you, I want you to feel this. I want you to experience what the ancestors gave me. So I would ask you to focus and to close your eyes, turn your camera off, whatever it takes for you to focus. This is what I received from, I'm going to turn my camera off for the moment because I need the same focus that I'm asking you to have. Our ancestor says, embrace the presence of your ancestors. Hear them in your heart. Experience them in your soul. You were created as you are now. Become aware of the now of your creation. Know that you are Elohim. You are the one from all that was created. That comes from all that was created. Remember that El Kabbalah is your DNA, not in your DNA. El Kabbalah is you. The death of Charlie Kirk was approved by the Cosmic Mother. Not a murder, not a hit, but the removal of oppressive noise, the end to an echo chamber of hate. The ancestors are showing us the power of the desire for righteousness and the emptiness of hatred and fear. Why were we blamed? Why was the children of Akebalon, the children of the sun, blamed for this? Why was the attention directed towards us, the true source of life energy? Why? They are very much aware. They, meaning those who believe that they run the world, they are so very much aware of who we are. We were immediately blamed because we are the source. We were immediately blamed because they are aware of the awakening of self-awareness, aware that we are Elohim and that we know it. The voices of hate will not be as loud as they have been. The thirst for blood is mitigated by the demise of Charlie Kirk. Akebalon has been awakened because of the presence of Elohim. The awakening of Akebalon are the same as the children of the sun, meaning that there is no difference between Akebalon and the children of the sun. There is no separation. There is no conflict. Just the presence of life energy. Just the presence of us being who we were created to be. Life energy. What is it? Life energy. Life energy is melanin, the Akashic consciousness, the ancestral presence, the continuous guidance of the cosmic mother. This is the structural makeup of the existence of the children of the sun as it is manifested in this world. Know who you are. Know your purpose. Know that it has not changed. Your mode of thinking was interrupted, but it was not changed and it can never be changed. It was just interrupted for a season. And that season of interruption is over now. And now that we have recognized this as an interruption to the way we were created and the purpose for our creation, we are able to bring balance to the world and take authority over the cosmic power that we are, because we are awakened. We will never be put to sleep again. We awaken and the world awakens. We awaken and mankind awakens. We move forward as the wind moves forward. As it is now, no one knows who we are, or where our origin is. We know where we are. We know who we are. Where are we? We are the tip of the spear for spiritual change. We are the tip of the spear for the principles of Ma'at. We are the melanated people who keeps this world alive. There would be no physical manifestation without the melanated people who are endowed with a consciousness that's only available to them and an ancestral presence that others deny its existence. We are those who have been chosen to honor not only our ancestors, but to honor our mother for birthing us, to honor the message that has been brought to this physical world through us, to recognize that we are not the ones who seek to destroy anyone or anything, but to bring peace, harmony to everything. This day, let it be known that we will not shun who we are, neither will we be uncomfortable with it. I am who I am, and who I am is I am Elohim. Everything else in the realm of spirituality is encompassed in that affirmation. I am Elohim. This body that we are in, every cell in it is the consciousness, the Akashic consciousness. Every cell in it has a mind of its own, yet it is intricately tied to the central mind of everything that exists, and that is the Akashic consciousness. So my people, hold dear to who you are and actually walk as Jacob walked. No longer the supplanter, no longer the one who takes from others, no longer the one who is teaching a doctrine of oppression. But now we are Elohim, and we are those who rule the way Elohim does, because that's who we are. Israel is those who rule as Elohim, not those who rule as mere men, but those who set boundaries, those who raise the vibration of others because of who they were created to be. That is our task. That is our purpose. That is our life. That is everything that we are. Thank you.
Ashe.
Thank you. Ashe.
Hey.
Right.
I'll say.
Shay.
Shay.
Yes, sir.
We are
Shay.
who we are.
Shay.
Thank you. Our discussions about energy, our discussions about what we see around us, what's going on around us, cannot be interpreted in the terms of our academic education or our interactions with people who have been indoctrinated. We see the things around us through the eyes of our spiritual essence. There are those who look at this death of Charlie Kirk and say that it's an anomaly, nothing will change. That is not true. Charlie Kirk was the Andrew Jackson of the time past, meaning that Charlie Kirk was a clarion voice for everything that white supremacy, that Christian nationalism represents. If you don't know much about him, I implore you to Google him and Google his speeches, and you will see that there is not one aspect of hatred that he did not touch during his deliverance to children, and yes, children on college campuses who they were actually indoctrinating with a message of hate. You say that, well, I didn't know about him. That's fine. But please understand that the most dangerous voices that are out there are the ones that you don't hear. And his was one that people simply wrote off as being a racist who trying to make some money, who has nothing else to do. But his voice was the vibration of evilness that has been with us ever since the first time that we came in contact with Europeans. That's the energy in that voice that brought Europeans to us in terms of robbing us, in terms of colonizing us. Not only did they seek to steal the materials in the earth, they sought to steal the inhabitants, the first inhabitants of the earth. They sought to steal the life energy of those in the earth. And the reason they were able to do it and continuously do it is because of murder and mayhem. And then the control of the education and religious indoctrination of the most spiritual people on the face of the earth. And now here we are, standing tall, seeking to save everyone and to destroy no one. Cosmic Mother makes the decisions about how things work. Cosmic Mother is the one who grants ancestors the privilege of being messengers, intercessors to us, so that we can understand with a greater clarity the Akashic consciousness and be more effective in how we bring life into the earth, how we create in our image and our likeness. The anger has been expressed by the termination of people who told the truth. The ancestors are saying that truth has no place in the midst of those who are in control because they hate the truth. In order to embrace the truth, you must embrace the reality of who and what the children of Akabelon are. And that is the truth that has been hated, that has been pushed by the wayside, that has been sought to steal the energy from it, but never understanding that energy cannot be stolen. It can be utilized and manipulated, but the owners of the energy, the authority behind the energy is always there. And when that authority awakens, that energy is repossessed by those who the energy truly belongs to, as opposed to by those who seek to destroy and control the world with that energy. The most dangerous group of people on earth, in conjunction with the Catholic Church, or with the religions, I should say, are the Masons, because they are the ones who were the primary thieves when it came to appropriating the energy of the African, of Kemet, of the children of Akebalon. I'm done. Questions or comments? I see the last two. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. This is Charles again. All that you had said, you gave confirmation about that red moon.
Okay, the blood moon.
Yes, sir. Because truth has been covered by the European, and now it's not being. It can't be covered no more. And the energy, they tried to change it, but you can't stop what God already ordained.
You're right. You can't stop what the cosmic mother has brought into existence. And the children of the cosmic mother are Elohim. You can't stop that. You can't change that. You can deny it. Even the African cannot change that. You can deny it. You can bury it. But you can't change the reality that it is what it is. Anyone else? Questions or comment? Ron?
You were quite clear, and I appreciate it because I think it was inspiring and empowering, uh, and necessary for where we are today. So that speaks to the experience that the world is going through right now, not only America. Thank you.
Thank you. We live in this epicenter of everything that is unholy. What do I mean by that? That which is unholy exists for no purpose at all other than destruction. It's set aside for destruction. That which is holy is set aside for a divine purpose. And the divine purpose of the existence of Elohim in bodily form, in this physical mass, the purpose is to walk in the fullness of Elohim. And in order for us to do that, we must walk in the midst of unholiness and bring order to the disorder that the whole world is experiencing. It is incumbent upon us not only to stay focused on who we are, but just as important, to focus on our purpose for being here. It's not to have a job. It's not to make all the money you can. It's not to be the most respected person because of your abilities. The purpose is to create in our image and likeness. The goal is for the world, for all of humanity to understand without the principles of Ma'at, there will always be chaos. There cannot be order unless the principles that were laid before this physical world came into existence are followed. Ma'at is the foundation of life in this earth. Ma'at is the foundation that guides us through our interactions with others. Ma'at is the foundation that grants us the opportunity to experience empathy, sympathy, all of the emotions that make us one with each other. The principles of Ma'at are the foundation that wakes us up every morning with a goal of bringing balance to the earth, with a goal of remembering who we are, with the goal of subconsciously or consciously saying, as George said, Grand Rising Elohim. This is a great day to be alive. Opportunity to bring into our presence the presence of humanity, the joy of life, the love and the kindness that foments life, the embracing of femininity that sustains life. This is a welcoming understanding of who we are. I took it from George when he said that is the human aspects of our being, welcoming the essence of who we are, welcoming the understanding of it, the acceptance of it. This physical world is one with the spiritual world because we are in this world. We are not of this world. Make sure your phones are muted, please. So, having said that, my deepest desire for all of us is to become comfortable, if you're not already comfortable, with knowing who you are. I'm done. Questions or comments? Is this clear with everyone?
Yes.
Are you able to see?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't want to sort of throw us off where we are, but when you were talking about the principles, principles of Maya, but I was thinking, the 42 confessions. I'm just wondering why they are negative confessions as opposed to the I am confession. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Do I understand what you're saying? I don't know the reason is I have not or I am not. I don't know. The way I see it is that it is a reminder to yourself, to ourselves, to our individual selves, that the things that exist in this world that are acceptable are those things that are considered to be material. And when it says that I am not or I have not, it is speaking to the buy-in to the physical interpretations of Maya, as opposed to understanding the spiritual connotations of those 42 principles. Looking at the manipulation of the Ten Commandments and seeing the principles of Ma'at, I do believe that they are saying to us This is a reminder that you are in this world but not of it. Your thought processes are different. The principles by which you are guided are different. That's the only way I can see it, other than it being mistranslated. Does that make sense, Audrey? You are muted. Still muted. Still muted.
Zoom doesn't always work for me. Yeah, I can see perhaps mistranslation, but I can also see that they are a reminder to, to stay on task, to stay focused, to stay in the narrow path, all of that.
I can see that, yes. Audrey, we are Elohim. We have authority to give a clear understanding of what is said or written rather in the sacred book. Through all of that manipulation, we have the authority to do that. We also have the authority to determine the righteous foundation of Ma'at because of who we are. When you know who you are, there are no interpretations of destruction. There are no interpretations of any isms that separate people from their humanity. Knowing who we are and making an application of life energy to help us to understand the principles of Ma'at or any other sacred writings has been granted to us by virtue of our origin. And our origin is not Africa. Our origin is from the universe, from the essence of light. That's our origin. The origin of our physicality is the earth, yes. The Akashic consciousness is who we are. It's interwoven throughout our being. And because of that consciousness, we have the authority to apply righteousness and righteous principles to the life of humanity, no differently than the sages, no different than the shamans, no different than the priests in the different groups on the continent of Africa, on the North and South American continents. No difference in that at all. We have that authority, just like those who came to this country, came to this land base, and populated it and taught spirituality to those who were here, those who saw fit to honor them as God with the Olmec heads on the coast. That's our authority. We have to get away from this religious thought or religious way of thinking that only God. You can't say only God when you are God. I beg your pardon? You can't say only God when you are God. All of the authority that we gave to the God who was created for us It's the authority that was appropriated to us from the beginning. And now it is incumbent upon us to function that way. It is incumbent upon us to think that way. It is no longer what was said in a book. Now it is what we are receiving from the Akashic consciousness. Are books valuable? Yes. But what do they tell you? They tell you, but they actually act as a guidepost for further understanding and deeper desire. That's where we are. And we'll get into a place where we have a knowing without having to. Would you mute your phone, please, 938? We have an obligation to, I lost my thought, I'm sorry. We have an obligation to speak based on the consciousness, and we'll get into that place more and more every day. If you've not noticed, we use the research less and less. Ron brings the scripture as was brought this morning, and we discuss that scripture and we see what's in it. Where did it come from? We've read those scriptures forever and all our lives. We've been exposed to the same scriptures that we're talking about. And now, for the first time, we see what the message is between Jacob, the wrestling, and the naming, the character of Israel. We see that now. It did not come from our reading the words in the book. It came from the Akashic consciousness that has shown us what it means. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I see it now as sort of a guide for perhaps those who are uninitiated into the actual knowing of themselves, so that it gives them something to focus on, something to meditate on, to sort of keep you in tune with the Creator.
And we are.
So, and I see that, yeah, if you do know who you are, then you don't necessarily need those kinds of things. You don't necessarily need those kinds of things to keep you focused.
Because they guide us to the place where we need to be. And we see that consciousness from that point forward. Does that make sense, guys? All I'm saying to you, I suppose, is based upon the question that you raised. I must say, based upon the question that you received from the Akashic consciousness, I see us as becoming more and more influential to ourselves as we become more influential to humanity. Just like the answers are there in the Akashic consciousness, the questions are there also so that the answers can be given. One of the major things I focus on when I'm meditating is not only to get answers, but to get questions to provoke answers. And the questions that we have been receiving lately have been questions that drives our focus on who we are, thus also reminding us that there is a consciousness that all of our answers comes from. The origin of all our questions and answers are in the Akashic consciousness. And that's what makes us who we are. I see an experience of Elohim more and more as we come together and have these discussions. I see it more and more because of the time that we take to bring understanding not only to what we see around us, but also understanding of what was written in the sacred book. But more importantly, an understanding of who we are. We are more in tune with the rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of the cosmic mother than we've ever been. We have sought in our minds for so long to be spiritual seers so that we could bring honor to ancestors as well as peace to humanity. We are at that space now to be the seers. We're not looking for that anymore. That's who we are. And as long as you as an individual is looking for it, or we collectively is looking for it, we never find it. Just like our search for God. Over the and God was always right in front of us. And we did not realize that until recently. We have thought that it's taken so long for things to change, for peace to come, for loving kindness to be experienced. It really has not been that long when you look at how long the children of the sun has been on the earth in relationship to other people on the earth. If we've been on this earth, and we have for 4 million years in physical form, and everyone else has been on this earth for 55,000 years. That's not a long period of time for things to be the way they are. Because during that course of the 55,000 years, we were still who we are. This changed roughly 2,000 years ago. So when you look at 2,000 years in relationship to our being here for 4 million and them being here for 55,000, everyone else, and the change came roughly 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Think about that. It has not been that long. Can you see that? The reason it seems long is because we see ourselves as a calendar. The calendar effect not only makes it longer in our thoughts, but the calendar effect also makes us impatient, causes us to want it to happen yesterday, when it just started yesterday in the scheme of things. Does that make sense? So here we are. We've been here for millions of years. And if 2 days ago this started, Now we're in the third day. And it's incumbent upon us on this third day of resurrection to bring light and life to the inhabitants of this space that has been given to us to dominate, to guide, not to dominate in a suppressive way or oppressive way. No, but to dominate in bringing light to those who have only existed 55,000 years. 5 days ago, they came. And the first 2 days, they did what they did. We went through it. The next 2 days, here we are. Questions or comments? Can you see the metaphor there? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Pastor Jay,
Yes?
in honor to the ancestors, I remember you specifically saying this month we'll see a lot of things unraveling, and there are things that have happened that we have not seen, but I'm paying attention, and yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, babe. See, we look at the number 9. 2025 is 9. But there's one thing in 9 that we don't talk much about. Three times 3 is 9. Any concept that comes in threes is set in concrete. 3 speaks to divinity. And an example of that would be Osiris, Isis, Haru. It speaks in terms of divinity. And when it's 333, which is 9, that means that the power of divinity cannot be changed. It's set in concrete, which means that this is a year of divine presence, of divine understanding, of divine sight. This is the year when divinity will be seen in action like never before. Yet our interpretation, our understanding of this divinity has been based on Christianity. Divinity showing itself can be seen in what happened to Charlie Kirk. Divinity showing itself removes from this space those things which are detrimental to humanity. September is a month of chaos. The rest of the year will be rebuilding. We will see the building of a nation. We will see nation states being built. What do I mean by that? When we talk about the building of a nation, we're not just talking about America. America is a nation, will be a nation state on this earth. Just like Kemet was a nation state. Europe was a nation state, and it was named by a female priest named Europa. So I'm saying to you that we will see the building, the structuring of nation states, with this being the primary source of the building of the nation state. Does that make sense? Hello?
It resonates.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm following.
It resonates.
Who said that? You say what now?
So I'm following what you're saying.
Oh, okay. So we ought to not be so observant of the news, but receive from their case of consciousness what's really going on. We have been shown that the news is controlled by the oppressor. And no matter what the people want to say, if they get anywhere close to the truth, they're terminated. Because the lie still believes it's in power. We will see the difference from this point forward. But we will see things being brought to an end for the purpose of bringing things from beneath the cover that will benefit humanity. George?
Yeah, Pastor, I just wanted to share just a little information spiritually on the number 9. You spoke about it, but I just like to just share
Of course.
information. It says 9 is the spiritual number of cosmic consciousness. You talk about the Akashic records, but it is a spiritual doorway to awakening of the highest self in the alignment of all that is, was, and ever will be. The spiritual blessing of number 9 opens.
Will you stop right there for a second, please? Did you hear what he just said? An awakening of a higher spiritual consciousness. Is that not what we have been experiencing for the last few months? Go ahead, George.
But the spiritual blessing of number 9 opens one to a higher awareness of self and purpose. Divine purpose reveal itself to you as you pass through this doorway. You have wanted to know your individual unique purpose, and already in your mind, body, and spirit to embrace and to follow your higher calling, to be and to teach the ways and the path of enlightenment. And as you were sharing and in reading this, it made me, appreciate when we talk about the cosmic mother. We talk about being able to receive in that way of our desire. And I thought about, again, in terms of just not just reading, but through our perceptions. I was listening to a song, and I'm sure it may be familiar to some, but it talks about spread your love for a brighter day. For what you search, you will find a way. Mighty people of the sun, in our hearts lies all the answers that we can't run from. And again, I think words have power. And again, I just wanted to express those thoughts as you mentioned in reference to Pastor, the I amness that we are. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you for
For
sharing.
those who don't know, that's Earth, Wind, and Fire. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, my sister.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I want to add one thing to what George just said. In that song, it says, "In your heart lies the answers to the truth that you can't run from." And I think that makes it even more powerful when you realize that the truth is in you. And as you awaken to that truth, you don't run from it. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you. How can you run from yourself?
Yeah.
You can't run that fast. Neither can you run from each other because we're truly one. Appreciate that.
If you don't mind, Joe, read number 9 one more time for me, please.
Yeah, the spiritual meaning of number 9 is the number of cosmic consciousness. And, as I saw that, again, in terms of relating it to the Akashic consciousness, but let me just read what it says. 9 is the number of cosmic consciousness. It is a spiritual doorway.
Okay.
A spiritual doorway to the awakening of the higher self in the alignment that all that is, was, and ever will be. Spiritual blessing of number 9 opens one to a higher awareness of self and purpose. Divine purpose reveals itself to you as you pass through this doorway, but you have always wanted to know your individual and unique purpose and are ready in your mind, body, and spirit to embrace and to follow your higher calling, to be and to teach the ways and the path of enlightenment. That's it, Ron.
That's good. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Wow.
And as
Thank you.
we talked about it in the past, and I think Barbara may have mentioned it, 9 also talks about the cycle, with regards to a new beginning. So with the number 9, it has significant, spiritual enlightenment to it. So I just wanted to again share that. I'm done.
I'm done.
Any questions, anyone? That just might be a beautiful place.
Just the obvious.
Yeah.
And that the month this is the 9th month.
Yeah.
And the year is 9 too. So I can see why Pastor said this is the month that things will happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Keeping everything in perspective. Yeah.
Embrace who we are. Embrace yourself. Thank you. Great energy. Great discussion. We will reconvene tomorrow, 6 p.m. I hope you have a beautiful day. Rest of your day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.